Okay, Dr. Barrett?
You did. You gonna die.
This is an important concept here, is recovery. So I was asked to present today about recovery because recovery means different things to everybody. So with that said, in your mind right now, what are you thinking that recovery means? Now, next slide. Could it mean recovery from addiction to drugs? Recovery from gambling? Recovery from abuse? We've had to deal with all that stuff when I was at Miami Dolphins for 19 years. We saw a lot of different things at the Marlins and even at the Panthers. I mean, it runs rampant everywhere, no matter how much money you make or how little. So recovery means different things. Next. So is it recovery from injury? And that's what we're going to talk about. Does anybody want to tell me what they think recovery means? Anybody want to share what they do for recovery? Just out of curiosity, I got a lot of glazed looks over their face. It's okay, because everybody has a different perspective on that. And we're going to have some clarity on this. So with that said, come on in. You're invited to the party. Now, does everybody know what this is? Have you had one before? Right. That is an ugly, oozing blister. You know what that is? Who said it? Callus. Does anybody have any calluses? Who wants to tell me the difference between a blister and a callus? Say it out loud.
Callus is a blister that's recovered.
That's even a better answer than I had for you. A callus is a blister that is recovered. That's fantastic. So here's the concept behind this. This happens to people doing something new, and this happens to people that have been doing something for a long time. Now, let's elaborate. When I say this happens to this happens to people that are doing something new, could be a new sneaker, it could be a new tennis racket, it could be, well, let me keep it in the confines of track and field, but we know what causes blisters. It could be a brand new best pair of sneakers you ever had in your life, and you'll get a blister. But this happens, we call that a rookie error, because it happens to people just starting out in their event, or it happens to people that do maybe a new course or a new item of clothing or socks that get wet and they don't realize what could happen. This is almost like a rite of passage. Look at the blisters I have, or the calluses I have, because of what I do. Now, that happens, and you may just take it for granted. Do you know why a callus occurs? You want to take a shot? What is your body saying when you have a callus? Say it again. Right. But there needs to be more skin there because he's on fire, right? Fuego, yeah? Yeah. So you were last week. I don't know what happened. All right. So the body says what? Hey, I need some more skin cells here. And it responds because this was overwhelming to the body and it didn't accommodate fast enough. This was, over a long period of time, the body goes, hey, let me throw some more skin cells down there, thicken that area, and protect you. So it's a cool concept when you realize that this happens, and to some degree, it happens too much, and you have a problem too. But it's protecting. Because over a long period of time, something occurred, a phenomenon called repetitive microtrauma. So it's the constant irritation, low grade over a long period of time that allows the body to catch up and protect. So, how do you get injured? Next slide. How do you get injured?
Overuse of the body.
Bingo. Overuse. Because the body didn't heal fast enough. And that's how a lot of, other than the obvious macro trauma, that you see in football or contact sports, or, you're wearing heels and you had a little too much to, oh, you don't do that. And you fell like that. Okay. So those are the macro traumas. I'm talking about the little micro traumas that occur repetitively over a period of time. Let me give you an idea. This was a reminder to me because back in the 80s, when we used to do bodybuilding and all that goofy foolishness, there was a buddy of mine who spent time in California in some of the biggest and best of the bodybuilding arenas, the meccas of weight training, Gold's Gym and so on. And he had met all the big name guys. You remember Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's still around, but all the others. And he comes back with these training concepts, and he's going to train Dr. Barron for a competition. I go, oh, that's cool. All right, so he's got all these new concepts. Of all the things, we train biceps, and he pulls out a ball-peen hammer. I go, what are you doing with that? It was this big. That's all. And he goes, come on. And I go, what? Give me an idea. Are we going to curl it? No. Make it flex. So he would take the ball-peen hammer and create further damage to the bicep because he wanted me to have more peak when we, posed on stage. And I thought, that's crazy. It's actually not. Aside from the foolishness, I walked around these bruises on either bicep. People go, just ask my trainer. He was, because the idea was, what do you do when you weight train or train? Your intent is to break down the muscle so it builds back stronger like the callus, right? Or conditioning. In your world, conditioning of the lungs. It breaks down the tissues to build it up so you can have more expansion and greater lung capacity and ability for oxygen binding capacity to the lungs. And that's the whole thing. Stress the body just enough so it responds in a positive manner to heal. So, foolish, but in concept, it was a cool idea. Next. So recovery, the concept of recovery is to break down the tissue, build it back up, so you're bigger, better, and stronger. So what happens? There's a complex cascade of things that go on in the body. But to keep it simple, protein synthesis, muscle fibers rebuild, lost fluids are restored, metabolic removal, waste products. So it is absolutely clear to me that I take for granted a lot of things that we've known for years. By the way, that's Dr. Brennan. She also works in our office too. Hi. And we hear some things that we expect you to know already, like hydration and how important hydration is. But we realize, we take for granted, that you don't really know, and that's okay. How many of you know when you're hydrated? How do you know? How do you know? Fire?
I mean, basically, well, like, if my lips are dry, I need to drink more water.
Okay.
Like, I know, like, if you go out, you have to drink more water the next day, because, like, the alcohol absorbs the water.
Yeah. Okay. No. That's okay. But guess what? That's too late in the game. Lips dry, too late. Because if your lips are dry, then muscles are dry, and in a sense, and you could actually get injured. Who has another way?
If your pee is clear.
I love you. Oh wait, you just ruined it. Wait a minute.
Oh.
What'd you say? Say it again.
If your pee is clear.
Yeah, to some degree, you're hydrated. But here, okay, you ready for this? And this is what I hear a lot. If your pee is clear, you're hydrated. Guess what? If your pee is clear, you're hydrated, but you've lost your electrolytes. And that's what cramping. That's when cramping occurs. So what color should your pee be? Who's what? Right, yellow, pale. What'd you say?
I said light, you said
light pale yellow. There should be color, and not from the vitamins you had, because the B vitamins make them fluoresce. So it should be, I don't have a P chart, but you can put, may I borrow your Cheez-Its? It should be around that color there, maybe a pale color yellow like that. Don't get me started. When are we doing a nutrition class? All right. So your idea is right. There is such a thing as overhydration. Had a baseball pitcher in the big leagues, New York Mets. He came to me one day when I was treating the other guys when they were here visiting, and I go, "How you doing?" And he says, "Not good." I go, "What happened?" And he says, "I was just in the hospital for 3 days." I go, "You're a weenie. Why?" And he goes, "Because he passed out from overhydration." What? What? Only you. And he tells me the story that he was pitching. Now, mind you, this is like a top-notch guy. And he's pitching on the mound, and he starts feeling numbness and tingling in his neck. And he's never had a neck problem. And he's pitching, and it is bottom of the ninth or top of the ninth or something like that, and he is ready to finish, and it's not necessarily a tie score. I think they were winning by 1 or something, but it was very critical that he perform at his best. So he's pitching, and the next couple pitches, he starts feeling numbness and tingling going down his arm. Come in, come in, come in. I'm messing with you. Here. You want a chair? You want a chair? No? Okay. All right, go. So, and the tingling is crawling down his arm like bugs, and the New York Mets, man, they're hardcore fans. They're all watching. He is starting to feel dizzy. He ends up finishing the game. Goes down into the dugout in a daze because he is so preoccupied by what's going on here, and he passes out. Gets taken to the hospital, and he was overhydrated. And they asked him several times, "Are you drinking water? Did you dehydrate? Are you drinking water?" He says, "Yes, I'm drinking gallons of water." He was overhydrated. He had peed out all his electrolytes. So he was starting to get paresthesias down the arm, numbness and tingling. Okay. Metabolic removal of waste products. Take a guess what that is. When you contract a muscle, the byproduct of contraction is? All right, I'm sore today. What is that? Very good. Coach! Yeah, man. All right. So, lactic acid. That's just one of the byproducts. Okay, when you drive your car and you press down on the gas, you have something called an exhaust pipe. I'm helping you with this because, all right. And an exhaust pipe is letting out the byproduct of fuel consumption or fuel burning of fuel. Same thing with the body. Lactic acid is the buildup. If you don't get that out, you're going to be sore starting the next day. So there's different ways to get past the soreness. Give me one. Jared. What? Thank you. Stretch. Next. You. Nice. So far, so good. Fire.
Or what, the lactic acid?
Yeah. What do you do?
I mean, usually, like, if I get lactic acid and I'm like dizzy, I go pee because I really like the lactic acid is like on urine. So if I pee, I'm not dizzy anymore, and I try to like cool down.
Can you shorten your answer for me, please?
No, it's just like they always feel like super dizzy with lactic acid. So like I try to cool down really fast because like if you don't cool down, the lactic acid is gonna stay in your muscles, right? So that's all.
Anybody do a cold bath or cold plunge? Is that what you're talking about? No. All right, I lost you. All right. What do you do?
I do ice bath.
Ice bath. All right, good. Anybody else do anything else? There's so many other ways of recovering just from soreness.
Just put your legs up too.
Great. What were you going to say?
Drink water.
All right. We just had a whole sermon about water. Okay. Anybody else? Leah.
I go to North Florida League.
Oh, thank you for the plug. Could you pay her for that? Thanks. And we have a bunch of things over there that we do too. Next. Okay, so to really get the concept across, here's simply, and it looks a little more complex than it really is. This is all you have to understand. One is you have to have muscle synthesis to occur, or protein synthesis to occur at an overwhelming rate versus breakdown. Makes sense, right? Makes sense, right? But none of you do it. No, I shouldn't say that. A lot of you don't do it. You don't realize that this balance that has to occur, you have to have more of the synthesis versus the breakdown. But what ends up happening is what I see in the office all the time. I see young kids getting injured, and I'm going to talk about this later, with adult-styled injuries more now than I've ever seen before. Some of their parents are pushing them beyond these children's limits. These are kids that heal way better than us. Well, you, not me. Everybody heals better than me. But my point is, their systems are so clean and pure, and they're supposed to heal fast, and they're coming in with these injuries, which we call overuse injuries. And it breaks my heart to see this. But the parents and the coaches now do this, 365 days a year of tennis or basketball or soccer or whatever, or pitchers are getting trashed. Anyway, we'll get into that in just a minute. Next. Oh, well, next is right now. So, back up. Yeah. So the point is, we've seen in the office kids with these ulnar nerve injuries or ulnar collateral ligament injuries that we see in Major League Baseball pitchers. And they're only 15, 16 years old. Why do you think that is? It's everything that we talked about. Say it again.
All year playing, like going from school to club.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's a big one. So they play for the school, then they play for a club, and then they have a tournament on the weekend when they're supposed to relax. It's crazy to me. And they're coming in with these injuries because the breakdown is greater than the healing or the synthesis of the muscle, tendon, ligament, and so on. So that's some of the extreme stuff. And I promise the parents, I go, here's one thing I can promise. You keep this pace up and your kid's wrecked. You think he's going to get into school or college because you didn't? And you're living through your kid, and pushing him to the limit, you're going to ruin his future. But those are the conversations we have to shake the parent up to realize that their longevity in that sport is going to be seriously limited. Next. So, how do you get injured? How did you get injured? How did you get injured? Don't say the same.
It was really hot.
Hot? I swear I thought he said he's really hot, and I go, wait, he didn't say that. Did he say that? It was really hot. Did you get dehydrated?
Yeah.
He sort of died.
Wait, what?
He died. He would have died.
You're not. All right. Don't get injured. Really? So this is like a public, everybody knew about this, right? You okay? So you lived it. You lived it to the max. All right. That's rough. Leah. Oh, and I won't even pick on you two over there. All right. But everybody has a mode or a method of how they got injured. And if you think back, and if you think it was because of that one move you made, you are grossly wrong. Because most injuries occur from something simple. In fact, yes?
What if, for example, like you break your ankle? It's just one move.
You know what? That's a great startup question for this. You sprained your ankle, but how many times have you made that same move or have rotated your foot in such a manner and you step back up and you go, man, okay, I'm okay. And you walked away from it. All right? But here's my point. Here's my point with that. And it's real simple. It is everything you did before that ankle sprain or that knee injury. How many of you have done something so benign, like twist, and you go, what the heck? And you feel something in the knee or the low back or the ankle or something that, or foot or toe. It was not, it's usually not that moment. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. You ready? You went out the night before because you had I have 2 days off from track on Saturday and Sunday, so I'm going to party on Friday. And then, so you grab a couple Hennies before you go out because it's cheaper that way, and then you go have a couple drinks because, you suck up to somebody and they go, hi, and they buy you a couple more drinks, and then you get home at 4 a.m, and you go, what do you say? Oh, I don't have to wake up tomorrow because you don't have practice. Because you're supposed to recover from the week before. But now you're starting out at sub-zero level, and you got to recover from that night, and then all the training, and you already have a metabolic nightmare going on because drinking just destroys the B vitamins. But that's okay because I'm going to have a cup of espresso right after that, or in the morning to wake up. So now you put the pedal to the metal with some espresso to wake you up, and you deplete more of the nutrients in your body because you're pushing it. But I have Sunday off, so I'm okay, I'll rest, I'll catch up on Sunday. It doesn't work like that. Your body needs a ton of rest because you all push really hard. Well, at least the ones that come into my office, and you do a lot that brings you closer to that injury. And if it wasn't that scenario, it might be something else. I've had enough pro athletes worth millions of dollars on the bye week go play basketball. 300-pound guys that are linemen are playing basketball and jumping up and down and landing. That makes no sense to me. That's a whole nother interview. All right. So you get it? Think it's all the stuff you do the days before that led you back to the injury that all you did was twist like this. I always say, I get less people coming in from you would think I get more people that come in from deadlifting or squatting heavy. I rarely do. What do they come in for? They come in because they want to pick up a piece of paper off the floor. Was it the paper that was so heavy? Oh. Point made. Next. What is pain? Go ahead. Yeah, I know. Pain is a gift. Pain is your fire alarm. So, let me ask you a question. If that thing went off, no, forget that. If a fire alarm went off in another room, and you had no idea, would you get up and walk out? All right, better scenario. You're in bed, you're asleep, and the fire alarm in your house goes off, or in the apartment, or the whatever, dorm, goes off. Are you going to sleep through it? Are you going to ask someone to shut the damn thing off? Right? No, wrong. But guess what? That's what we do with pain. We take what? Medication. Medication shuts the fire alarm off, but does it necessarily put out the fire? You. I have no idea who you are, so I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on her on purpose. But the point being is, pain is good. Pain is a gift. Pain is, as some of my footballers used to say, pain is weakness leaving the body. But truly, pain is your alarm. It's telling you, hey, pay attention to me. And the less you pay attention to it, the more it builds because you think it's going to go away. And even if it does go away, even if you medicate and you go, oh, I'm not in pain, you know, it will rear its ugly head sooner or later. It's telling you something's going on. Pay attention to it. Now look, I'm of the same mentality. Work through the pain, work through the pain. But there's a point where you got to go, hey, I got to pay attention and recover. But don't medicate before you go run. Who's the guy? Didn't we have somebody come in yesterday? No, was it yesterday? They took medication in the morning, before a game, and then after. What was that?
Wasn't it one of the, no, one for like football players. And he like had an injury for his leg, like his hip, and then he kept running, sprinting, then took meds.
Oh, that's right,
and
that's right.
then went running.
Yeah, that's suicide. That is sports suicide. Truly. Think about it. You're shutting off the fire alarm. Next. So, sorry, I'm sure you can read it still, but it didn't translate from Keynote. No, we're good. It's superimposed. So, simple. If you're wondering about overtraining, because some of you tell me that you don't sleep well or something like that, sometimes those are your key points. There's 12 of them here. Can you see? There's one of these might be an early warning sign, or it might just be a transient thing that'll go away. Multiple things, if you're really curious, like, damn, am I overtraining? And by the way, it doesn't mean that you're running too much. It means you're not recovering enough. So that, next. Have you ever seen this? You guys, you tend to ask, all right, I injured my whatever. How long is it going to take? How long is it going to take? Now, what you're asking me, I know what you're asking me. How long will it be before I get out of pain? But that's why it's important to get out of pain, and then the next stage is to test the muscles, because if the muscles are strong and stable, then you're okay. Look how long it takes. Okay, regular muscle soreness. Who gets sore within 24 hours of an activity? Who gets sore within 48 hours of an activity? Right? Everybody's a little different. But then it takes 72 hours for that area to fully recover before you can engage in a high-intensity event. If you don't know what I mean, listen, track and field people, distance runners, some of the greatest distance runners in our history have dropped dead from heart attacks. How is that possible? Do you know about this? Do you know about this? Guys like Jim Fixx. He wrote one of the original books on distance running. The guy drops dead on a run. Here's why. Because the technology wasn't there to understand that your heart is a muscle, and after a marathon, you have to let that muscle repair, the heart muscle to repair. If you're heading for another marathon on that weekend, you're breaking it down if you're not healing fast enough. It is almost bizarre how many distance runners. There's 3 in my history that I've been aware of that have dropped dead from heart attacks. And they're supposed to be like the epitome of conditioning. It's because the heart is a muscle just like the body. So, but here's the deal. Back then, they didn't know a lot about recovery. So I'm not saying to limit the running. I repeat this again. I'm not saying to limit the running. I'm saying to add more to your recovery. Continue. And next. Okay. So playing better and playing longer. Again, that means 2 different things. That means different things for 2 different people. simply playing better is accuracy, speed, agility, and strength. And then stamina could be in there, but I put that in for playing longer, meaning more importantly this too, lifespan in your sport. Next. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, look at some of the premier athletes in our era. You may not even know this guy, and that's okay. Because next, click, oh wait, go back. Here, 39 years old, and he's a linebacker. That's one of the toughest positions in football. You don't have to know football. They collide 72 or more times in a game with a guy maybe bigger than them. This guy is a beast, and they would drug test him, not for drugs of abuse, but performance-enhancing drugs, all the time because they couldn't understand how this guy could play at that level at 39 years old in that position. And never once took a steroid. What does he do? $300,000. Now, he could do that, but my point is, what can you do? Next. We know this guy. Well, not personally. But look, let me see if the next, yeah. 33 years old. See that? That's how much he spends on his body per year. Millions. Millions. What does that look like? I'll share that with you in just a moment. Next. She just had a baby. And it was a tough one. She almost died during that. Go on. Her philosophy. Since she had a daughter, I want to teach her that there are no limits. People, I'm saying to you, there are no limits. I'm not saying to back off on training. I'm saying to move forward on recovery and your understanding of that. Because it's so important to keep you at peak performance. Next. So, what are examples of recovery? Next. Now, sleep like a baby. How many sleep well? Because not everybody sleeps well, right? Depends on if there's tests and stuff, right? Eat like a princess. And of course, drink water before your lips get chapped. But drink water to the point where you're also taking in certain supplements that replace the electrolytes. And I'm not saying go get some Gatorade. There's much better stuff than that. Next. Oh, one absolute essential. Who poops every day? I won't ask who doesn't because I know. I had a patient come in. This was like in my second year in practice. And she came in, she was a distance runner, low back pain. She was in her 40s. And she had terrible low back pain. And I noticed her skin was like dry and not healthy looking, especially for a distance runner, an accomplished distance runner. I did everything for weeks to help this woman's low back pain. And nothing was, gosh, I suck. What happened here? This isn't working. And I would take this problem home with me and figure, all right, 40 years old, distance runner. She does nutrition. You know what I asked during the consult? Do you move your bowels regularly? She said, yeah. Regularly for her? I swear on my life, once a month. Yeah, she pooped once a month. I go, how are you alive? You have toxic buildup. You're like a nuclear waste site. What happened here? I go, you need to put, what do you mean? That's not normal. She goes, oh, well, I didn't know that. I go, yes, it is. And I go, no, you have to poop at least once a day. And if you're really super healthy, poop after, like in the morning and at night. I know it sounds crazy. It depends on what you eat. Now, don't get me started because I have a doctor that I consult with out in Chicago, Dr. Cindy. Oh, her specialty, she's a chiropractor, but her specialty is internal medicine. and she is brilliant and funny, and she could entertain you for a half an hour about poop. And nobody talks about poop. Do you know that, sit down, do you have to go poop? No. Now you're lucky I got 4 minutes. Happy pooping. So, there are things I don't even want to raise, I don't want you to raise your hand, but you can always talk to me about it. Do you know how much toilet paper should you use when you go poop? Crazy, right? How much? What? Did you just say one roll? God damn. No, I'm talking one poop session, not a month worth. All right. Poop. When you put it, you should only use 1 square. What? Five. Nobody's ever asked me that. If I use 5-ply. No, yeah, here. No, what? Because our systems are so messed up. We drink dairy. We probably shouldn't be. Here, let me do this quickly while I have a moment here. Poop is a whole nother subject that really tells you about your health, believe it or not. And when I was sent to China 25 years ago to work for 2 weeks in the Olympic Training Center in Beijing. It was supposed to be an educational exchange. I had nothing for them. They did stuff that I just sat there, you do that? For that? That's unbelievable. Well, I remember hearing about, we were getting a tour while we were going to the training center one day, and they said, yeah, there's the apartment, the housing, and sometimes 4 generations live in a, what do you call it, like a studio. I go, studio here is the same as a studio, like a kitchen and a bathroom and a bed? He goes, yeah. I go, how do they do that? Yeah. And then he goes on to say that the government issues them a standard of multiple things, but all I heard was 1 roll of toilet paper. I go, how does 4 generations use 1 roll of toilet paper? And I never got the answer, because that was just normal for them. I live by myself. I could run through a whole roll in a week. No, not really. But the point being is this. When Dr. Cindy had me go gluten and dairy free, I will never forget that moment of using 1 sheet of toilet paper. It was like nirvana. It was like poop nirvana. It was like, I called her up, I go, 1 sheet! She goes, what are you talking about? I go, poop, I poop, 1 sheet! I know now, I understand. 20 years ago, I understand why the Chinese use 1 sheet. They're not full of sheep. No, sorry. Bad joke. So anyway, point being is your digestive system has a lot to tell. We'll talk about that another day. So poop every day. Take your vitamins. Get work done. Muscle work, body work. That means sometimes massage, chiropractic. That's all that good stuff. Who does yoga? Nice. Who does Pilates? Good. Good. Next. You know what that is? Who said it? Cryo chamber. Sauna. We have one at our office, by the way. Infrared sauna, or that's a regular sauna, but we also have infrared sauna. And who knows what that is? Who said it? That's good. No. Hyperbaric chamber, which means it forces oxygen into the system to help heal better. So these are recovery strategies, and there's a host of them. But the point, let me see what's next. I don't remember what the next line. So the point is, what will you do to take care of yourself? What will you do? Because you know what, for the most part, at this age, you guys pretty much feel invincible and indestructible. And my point is simply do more things to help recovery than you do to injure the muscle. All right? Any question? Thank you very much.